Welcome back to my channel, Cindy Says. Today we're going to cover budgeting. Stay tuned.
Cindy says, Cindy says, work it out, work it out. Do you work it out? Cindy says, finance looking, work it, hey, mind yeah. Cindy says, work it out though, work it out. Nothing moves till you move, work it out. Finance looking right.
This video today, we're going to use a hypothetical person. We're going to call this person, we're going to use a guy, we're going to call him Bob. We're going to do a budget for Bob. What he actually brings home, not what his gross is. Bob gets paid every 2 weeks. He brings home $2,400. That is his net. His gross is $3,200. And that $3,200, of course, is taxes. You got to pay the taxes. He pays for his insurance out of this, and he also puts money into his 401k. He's using a matching for his 401k. So Bob has money saving through his company and through himself. But he brings home $2,400 every 2 weeks. Let's do Bob bills. $2,400. The first check out of the month, you really want to pay your rent. If you don't, if your first check comes after the 3rd or the 4th, the best thing to do is get ahead on your rent. That way you avoid any type of late fees. So, first thing, Bob has rent. So we're going to pay $1,500 in rent. He's not living in a shabby chic place. He's living in a decent place. $900 is what Bob has left for the next 2 weeks. Let's say Bob does not work from home. He has to drive to work. So we need to cover that expense right off the top as well. We're going to give him $200, saying he's using premium for gas. So then he only has $700 left. This money has to be used for food, lights, savings, period. Food, Bob has 2 kids, about $200 per person. We're not going to get all of our money out of here because that alone is $600. We're not giving that all at the same time. We're going to do $300 bi-weekly. Next check we'll spend $300 new. Bob has $400 left. And keep in mind, he does not get paid again for 2 weeks. $400. We're going to put at least $150 on the light bill. Bob has $250 left for the next 2 weeks. What I would recommend Bob do right here is take this money, put this in an emergency fund, half an emergency fund, and the other half into a savings challenge. And this savings challenge could be monies that you're saving to pay a creditor, like a large credit card or something more than $300 or $400. If we put $125 into our emergency fund, another $125 in the savings challenge, once this gets up to $500 or $1,000, whatever the amount is, take that money along with your monthly payments. Take this money and pay the credit card bill off. This is check 1, number 1 of the month. $2,400 bring home. There's no overtime in. Do not count overtime because overtime is not consistent. You can use it when you're purchasing a home if you have been getting overtime for more than 6 months, but don't count on overtime. Overtime is sporadic. It seems like as soon as the company realize you need overtime or you're using overtime, somehow they cut it. So we're just going to deal with the net, $2,400. This right here is mortgage or rent. It doesn't matter. You got to pay to have somewhere to live. They left him $900. And then we went for the bills that we're going to be paying. Some is going to be due again. The other ones are going to not be due at all. And we'll take these monies and allocate them for the next check. That's check number 1. Let's go to check number 2. Budget. Bob, bring home the same amount of money, but these primary bills are paid. To me, your primary bill is mortgage, because you have a place to live, rent, you gotta have a place to live. And the next primary bill to me is your vehicle. If you have a car note, whether you have a car note or not, you need to have money set aside for a vehicle, and you have to pay car insurance to drive the car to work. So that's a monthly bill. But we're on our second check for Bob for the month. Mortgage has been paid. We're going to give Bob a $500 car note. That leaves Bob a whopping $1,900. Insurance, $250, $18, $5. He still got $16.50 left. This is great. Bob's doing great. Whether he has an apartment or rent or mortgage, he should have home insurance of some type that he's paying monthly. We still got $1,600 left. We're on our second check. We still owe ourselves $300 for food. Because remember, the budget for food is $600. Instead of taking it all out of one check, we'll do $300 and then $300. Yes, you'll have to go to the grocery store twice a month, but that's okay, as long as you stay on your budget. So we got a car note, we have insurance, we have home or rental insurance, food, and then the old cell phone. Depending on the age of the children, he may have 1 to 3 cell phones. If money is tight, which I think it is, you should have the lowest cell phone possible bill for yourself and for the children. That usually is a phone bill that's $50 times 3 is $150. Let's say Bob has not paid for his phone completely, so his phone is an additional $100 a month. Kids should not be on the phones that you got to keep paying for. They don't. For what? Their job is to go to school. They're not running the business. They're not raising kids. So they should have a Metro or a very cheap phone. In this case, we got $250 for 3 people plus his payment for equipment. It's still $1,050. Unfortunately for Bob, he has credit card bills or payments. What I recommend, if possible, contact all your credit card payment companies and see if you can change your dates, your payment dates. We don't want to get any type of late fees. If you have credit card bills, sometimes they just say, no, this is how it is. But a lot of them, they can change your date and make your date on that second check's payment schedule. Because if you have a bill that's due on the 1st, we're down to the second week, the 15th or the 16th, you have gotten a late fee. And we don't want to pay any late fees, okay? So we got $1,050 left. Bob has credit card payments monthly right now of $550. So he has $500 left. The first check he had $250 left. We put some in the emergency fund and some in the savings. These are Bob's minimum payments. Minimum. But we still got to put $125 in the emergency fund. No matter what. Bob has children. Anything could happen. That leaves him $375 bi-weekly. We got to have gas. We had gas before of $200. We're going to do the same thing. It'll probably be a little less because hopefully people are using the points. People are going to Sam's Club and not spending this much, but we're going to put that in the budget for $200. After he's paid his second month of bills, Bob still has $175. We're doing no spending and we're allocating our monies everywhere. We got $175 left. Those kids, they are probably on an allowance. They get their allowance off the last check of the month. Divide this into 2. That's the kids' allowance. You've bought groceries. You set it up where you are making your lunch every day. You have your gas, your cell phone bill is paid, your credit card bills are paid, and the kiddos got their allowance. So Bob is doing no money left over budget. In this case, he shouldn't have any stress, any pressure. We're putting $250 a month into an emergency room. I'm sorry, we're putting $250 a month into an emergency fund just in case you need co-pays for your medicine or co-pays for the children, or if the car breaks down. We have those funds in the emergency fund. The ultimate goal is to get this emergency fund saved up 3 months of bills. So in this case, $4,800 is how much he's spending per month to live and make the basic payments on bills. If something should happen to him, he should have at least $24,000 saved up. So we don't have any money for any extras right now. Once we get these credit cards paid down, we can take that money and put that into that same emergency fund just to get the savings up, just in case something happens, he gets sick or one of the kids gets sick and he cannot work for whatever reason. He still has the minimum amount necessary to take care of his home. This is how you do a budget, down to the penny. You use your actual bring home with no overtime, and that's what you live off of. Do not live off overtime. And the most important, one of the most important things in this bill outside your everyday expenses is this emergency funds. I don't care how much you plan, it's always an emergency. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Cindy Says. I hope this budget helps you. You know, I'm old school. I pull out a big piece of paper, and this is how I do it. I've used different books before, but with my hypotheticals, I just use a big piece of paper. Do not forget to subscribe, share, and comment. Until next time.